Hello, this is going to be the production breakdown of my new song Laura Street. So I think what we'll do, I'll just play the different sections and then we can kind of look at the different layers that I added and then we can go over what actually played on the guitar. So if we get right into it, let's start with the intro to the song. So here's how the intro of the song goes. So really, that intro of the song, it's pretty much just a few chords actually. So the very first one, it's like a G chord. And now the second chord there, that's kind of like an E minor 7. So this shape here, it's kind of like a D add 9. Yeah, kind of like a D add 9. And then well, if you've watched a few of these videos now, I tend to find some chord shapes that I like the sound of and like the flow of. And then with available fingers, or I'll start lifting and moving fingers, that's when I try and almost discover a melody that I can reach with my fingers. Because I was thinking about this earlier on. For me, I don't sing, so it's very hard for me to maybe think of a melody in my mind and then kind of translate it to guitar. A lot of the times it's more, I'm discovering the notes or the melodies which are close to my fingers. So for example, for the E, I just kind of implement hammer-ons, pull-offs, and I find that adds some nice variation and it introduces a melody into the chords that I'm playing. Again, when I go up to that D chord, so kind of like a lower sort of melody there, and definitely adding a bit of melody to it. But with that, if I'm honest, I'm not really thinking of the notes, let's say. It's just more, where can my fingers reach in the current position that they're at? And then, some of it will be trial and error. But also, after a while, with certain shapes, you just become very familiar with where the notes are. So it's definitely from spending years and years just experimenting. But I definitely feel now, having learnt theory and kind of put it into practice, it takes out a lot of the guessing work and it just means you can be a bit more productive and efficient. But yeah, really that intro, G, E minor 7, it's kind of like a D add 9. And that makes up the intro. Cool, so with this song, I knew pretty much from the beginning I didn't want to add too much to it because from making these videos actually I've kind of realized that there's two kind of main different styles that I've been making for this album. And so one of them is more, it could be like a guitar duet. So I'd have one guitar part playing a finger picky kind of rhythm part, and then I had an extra guitar layer, and that's more playing a lead melody line. Whereas with this song, it's more of just a solo guitar piece, really. And as you can see, there isn't too many parts which make up this song, as I wanted to keep it very sparse. So let's have a look at all the different layers and the different parts that I added into it. So what we've got at the very top here is the main guitar, the main acoustic guitar. And actually what I'll say about this is this session here is the final session, but what I like to do when I'm recording a guitar part, I like to do it in a separate session. So for example, say with this, I would have recorded a demo guitar, and then I can add all the layers and everything I want to it. And then when I feel pretty solid on the arrangement of the song, that's when I'll really start to practice the guitar parts that I've composed. And once I feel I'm ready and I'm confident, I'll then export everything apart from the demo guitar. So it's almost like I'm exporting the backing track for the song, and then I'll open a new session, and that's where I'll just track the guitars. Because sometimes, say if you do have lots of kind of instruments or layers going on, that could be quite taxing on your computer. Whereas if it's just an audio file, it's going to be less taxing on your computer. And also for me, it just keeps it a lot more organized. So let me show you the guitar recording session, because as you'll see, it took me many takes until I was happy with it. Okay, so here's the guitar recording session for Laura Street. And so the way I recorded it, I used my other acoustic guitar, which is the standard acoustic guitar. And so that has a DI, so I could plug a guitar lead into that. But then also I like to set up a microphone to pick up more of the kind of warmth of the guitar. So every time I was recording, there would be these two tracks going, one which is the microphone and the other which is the DI signal. And so as you can see, it took me 9 takes, and that's pretty much recording the full song in one go, actually. So sometimes, you know, you might just kind of have a loop and you just try and record a verse or a chorus over and over. But by the looks of it here, yeah, I was just trying to do one continuous take of the whole song, and I've done that 9 times. And another thing that I like to do when I'm recording the guitar to really help me nail my timing is not only will you have a click track going on in your headphones, but I just get a drum machine here, and I actually program the rhythm that I'm trying to play. So for example, if I just play this here, and so this will be the intro of the song. So I'll have the click in my ear, but I'll also have that just to really help me nail the rhythm that I'm going for. And then what I always like to do, and that's a nice thing by, you know, recording on computers and being able to have as many takes as you want, I then make a comp of the guitar tracks. So it's really just listening through to every take. You kind of highlight the ones which have the best performance or where there isn't any mistakes. And then if you do find a mistake, then you listen to some other takes, and then you just start really grabbing all of the best parts that you recorded, and then you just piece it together to have one hopefully kind of perfect take. And so if I look at the comp tracks, yeah, every time you see a line, that's where, you know, I've done a little cut and I've added in a new part from a different take. So not too bad. You can see I'm getting good chunks of it that I'm quite happy with. But then definitely around here, which is probably the chorus, I imagine. Yeah, a few more edits. But then, yeah, this kind of last part here, that's a good solid chunk there. So, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing comps, especially for a recording, you know, because you want to try and make the song as best as you can, you know. So I definitely think, yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing comps, because I imagine most music that you listen to is probably not one continuous take, you know. So yeah, nothing wrong with doing comps. And also, if I had all of these layers in my main session, for me, it would just start to get a bit unorganized, really. So yeah, I like to keep the guitar recording separate. And then once I've done the comp, I can just export that and then drop it into the main session. Cool, so let's look at the other layers. So this is the bass guitar for the intro. I'm being a little bit more busy with this on the bass compared to some of my other songs, and I suppose it's because I knew that I didn't want to add too many parts to it, and so that kind of left me more room to play about with the bass. And I think it kind of complements the guitar quite nicely, and a lot of the twiddly parts I'm doing there on the bass, it is just following whatever I was doing on the guitar. So I'm not really introducing loads of new melodic content. It's more of just reinforcing or mimicking the guitar, but it's just an octave below. Yeah, I just think it creates a nice full sound. Once I'd done the bass, I knew I wanted to add some pad elements. And also going into this song, I was thinking, yeah, keep it nice and sparse, but it'd be cool if I could create pads with the guitar as opposed to using a synth or pulling up a preset in Reason. And this is where I got my electric guitar and I drenched it in delay and reverb. So let me just play the pad on its own. So I'm just playing one note there, but it's got this very nice wide stereo ping pong delay going on. And so if I play that with the guitar, so what I like with that and why I decided to use ping pong delay is because the main guitar is right in the middle of the mix. It left room to play about with the width of the song, and so having the main guitar in the middle is nice because it's the main focus of the song, but then I'm just adding these kind of sparkly delayed little electric guitar notes which just kind of fill out the width of the song. And then another thing that I was experimenting with this song is playing about with reverb. So what I mean by that is instead of just putting reverb on the main acoustic guitar and calling it a day, I was thinking it'd be nice to have a different guitar creating the reverb for it. And so it will just give you different textures and different sounds. And so what I settled on actually is I grabbed my electric guitar, I played exactly the same thing that I did on the acoustic guitar, but I just drenched it like 100% wet with the reverb. And so I'll play that so you can hear it. So it's running through the same effects that the guitar pad was going through. So we got that nice stereo ping pong delay on there. And again, it's just helping with the width, but it adds this nice sparkly texture to the acoustic guitar. So if I play the acoustic guitar with the electric guitar, Yeah, it just adds some width to the sound, and yeah, adds a cool texture. Because if I play the acoustic guitar without the electric, it might sound, you know, a bit more dull. So that's the intro. So it's made up of the main acoustic guitar, have these individual notes on a very kind of delayed, reverbed electric guitar, and then yeah, the same effects on another electric guitar track, but it's just mimicking what the main acoustic guitar is playing, and I'm treating that more of like a reverb for the main guitar. And then bass. So that's just 4 layers making up the intro of the song. So that leads us into the verse. So with the verse, I wanted to vary the guitar part. So let me just play the verse for you so you can hear that. So I go back to the G chord, but this time it's a slight variation. So this is more like a G sus2. And again, I'm using the same tricks that I always use, just experimenting with available fingers to see what melodies I can kind of pull out of the guitar, and implementing hammer-ons and pull-offs. Then I go to C as the next chord. Yeah, so going to a C chord for that second chord there. And again, hammer-ons, pull-offs, and I'm just kind of discovering what notes or what melody that I can kind of discover, which is close to the shape I've got on. And so then when I repeat, I go back to the G, and I'm just varying what I'm doing with the left hand there. Go to the C, but then I knew I wanted to introduce a new chord, just so it wasn't G, C, G, C, as whenever you repeat something a few times, that's when it can start to feel a bit monotonous or predictable. So it's always nice to have some repetitions, but very little parts. And then when you're repeating like a whole section, then sometimes at the end or within that next repetition, it's good to add some more variation to it. So to finish off the verse, I go to a D chord pretty much. Then that sends us into the chorus. So let's have a little listen to the chorus. So once we get to the chorus, that's then when I really wanted to increase the energy of the song. And so we've got a few more layers going on. But also with the guitar, for the intro and the verse, it was all very much situated around the first 3-4 frets really. So I knew I wanted to go up in pitch and travel a bit further up the neck. From having analysed the song, this is basically going up to another G chord, and so this is where the cage system was kind of kicking in. So it's really using that D major shape, but we've gone all the way up to here, and so that's the root note there, which is a G. And when I was composing the song, I wasn't thinking about that, I wasn't mindful of that. It was more I was just experimenting and landed here. And I was just thinking, yeah man, that sounds cool. And it's only now from kind of looking back on the song, I'm like, oh, I just went to another G chord, but it's just voiced a bit higher pitched really. And again, using hammer-ons, pull-offs, and just experimenting with available fingers to try and discover a melody. And now this second chord. And so really, it's just like an E minor chord. And so this is where with the song, the chords that I use, I'm probably using 4 chords or so within this song, but I'm placing them all across the neck using different voicings, just to create nice variation between the different sections in the song. So it starts off, it's basically a G chord, it's like our E minor. So a nice little run with double stops there, so you just play 2 strings at the same time. So I'm going back to a G chord, pretty much. And melody-wise, I'm mimicking what I played at the beginning of the chorus, and I'm just playing it an octave down. So that's quite a nice little trick that you can do. If you come up with a cool melody and you want to repeat it, but you don't want to literally copy and paste it, then just chuck it into a different octave and it adds a bit of variation to it. So the chord progression for the chorus, going to a G, E minor, another G again, but then to add some variation, I go to a C, and then a D chord pretty much. And then I repeat them chords. So, using standard chords, I suppose, that all of us learn near the beginning, but I'm applying a varying right hand finger picking pattern, and then I'm implementing loads of kind of hammer-ons, pull-off, slide techniques, just to, make it sound interesting and add some variation to it. And then definitely for these chord shapes, it's where the cage system comes in very, very handy to work out where you can play these same chords but in cool new locations on the neck. So let's have a look at all the other layers that I've added to this. And so, but again, because the main guitar's in the middle of the mix, I wanted to add some more elements panned left and right to help with the width of the mix. And this is where I brought my little guitar lele in. So let's just listen to what I added with that. So what I came up with there, I'm just mimicking the melody from the main guitar part. And so what I've got panned to the left, the melody where I'm playing it in a lower octave. And then panned right, we got another guitar lele track, and it's playing the same thing but in a higher octave. So I think it adds some nice width to the main guitar, and it's just really helping to reinforce what the main guitar is doing. So it's helping to accent certain parts of the melody that the main guitar is doing. And another layer that I've kept in there from the verse is the electric guitar with the big ping pong delay. So that's adding some ear candy, let's say, just adding like this nice little sprinkling on top. And then I carried on with another layer of the electric guitar where it's playing exactly the same as the main guitar, but again it's just drenched in reverb and delay, and I'm treating that like the reverb for the main guitar. So that is, yeah, like a reverb, but also like a pad, and adding a nice sparkly texture to the main guitar. And then we have bass guitar. So with the bass guitar here, I didn't want it to be quite as busy compared to the verse, just because we've got more layers going on, and also the main guitar is getting a little bit more busy as well. So I definitely kept it nice and simple with the bass guitar. And then, yeah, if you've seen a few of these production breakdown videos, you know that I love sub bass, and so I've added some sub bass mimicking the bass guitar. So it just adds some very, very low end frequency, which I think helps with the impact of the chorus when it kicks in. And it just really fills out that low end to give it a nice kind of deep, rich vibe. And a tiny bit of percussion here. So I've got a reversed cymbal sound. And then I've got a nice cymbal kind of crash sample. So using the reverse cymbal really just helps to kind of suck us into that crash hit, and yeah, just helps with the impact of it. So yeah, keeping it very sparse, but going into the song, that's kind of what I wanted to do. I was thinking, yeah, let's just really have this as a solo acoustic guitar piece, and then just add minimal layers to it, just to kind of help amplify and reinforce what the main guitar is doing. So that brings us to the intro of the song again. So I already felt I like the kind of three parts with this song. So it's more like the kind of intro idea, then a verse, then a chorus. And structure-wise, I pretty much just repeated that. So I found having the intro come in after the chorus, it just kind of gave us a nice little breather before then kind of cracking back into verse 2. And so to add some variations, when we hear this intro section again, I've added the guitar lay there, and I've kept the sub bass in there just to kind of keep that warmth and keep a bit of that energy from the chorus. So that leads us to the second verse. And so with the second verse, I'm using exactly the same chord progression as I used in the first verse, but the only difference is I added some variations to the melody that I was playing, just because it is an instrumental piece, and I feel like if I just copied and pasted that first verse, it may get a little bit repetitive and a little bit predictable. So just some tiny little variations in the melody there. And layer wise, it's very similar to the first verse actually. So we got the main guitar, and then I'm still carrying on with the very reverbed electric guitar, using that as like a pad or like a reverb for the main guitar, and got the bass in there. But I removed the sub bass just because I was thinking if we hear that sub bass for the chorus, the kind of intro part after it, and then the second verse, once we get to the next chorus, we're going to lose the impact of having that sub. So definitely removing that from the second verse helps the second chorus really kind of kick in with a bit of a bang when that sub comes back in. Yeah, that brings us to the second chorus. So I wanted it to definitely build for this second chorus, and it's the end of the song pretty much. So yeah, I added a few layers of percussion into it. So we have an electronic kind of kicking, clicky sort of sound. And what I always like to do for any snare is to duplicate it into a separate track, and then I'll drench it in reverb, so then I can mix how much reverb I want to be applied to it. So if we hear the kick and the click, but with the click reverbed. So a very big reverb. And again, this is where when I was first producing music, I was making dubstep, and so their snares mega reverb, and so that's a trait which I still like, and I use it in my new songs. To help with the impact of the snares, I exported one of the reverb snares, and then I put it in reverse, because I feel like it really just helps to kind of lead the listener in to that snare hit, and it makes it impact a bit more. And then we just got some programmed hi-hats. So very straightforward. And then I recorded a little leg shaker that I've got, and I was using this more for a snare hit. Just to add a slightly different texture to that click sound, and just to layer it up. And to lead the second chorus in, I use this nice cymbal swell sample that I've got. Which, yeah, I think introduces the second chorus quite nicely. And then to finish the song off, I drop it right back down to just the guitar, just so we have this kind of nice, kind of sparse beginning. It starts to build a bit during the verse, builds a bit more in the chorus. And then we kind of bring it down just a little bit for that second verse. And then it's really reaching the peak in that second chorus. And then just to kind of bookend it, I suppose, we started with just the guitar, nice and sparse. So I thought that'd be a good way to finish it. So yeah, with this song, yeah, definitely kept it sparse. Didn't want to add too much as I wanted the main focus to be on the guitar. And again, the main guitar, I suppose, is quite busy. You know, we got quite an active kind of right hand finger picking pattern. The left hand is introducing a melody as well with hammer-ons and pull-offs. So yeah, a lot going on with the main guitar. And so the layers that I added were, yeah, more like pads or very reverb, so pushing them towards the back of the mix. And then using that guitar lay for wider elements just to kind of fill it out slightly. And then, yeah, just bringing drums in towards the end just to, yeah, kind of finish the song with a bang. You know, it is still like a chilled out song, but it gave it a nice arc. Yeah, so that's my latest song, Laura Street. I hoped you maybe picked up some little kind of hints or tips that you can then try and use in your own productions. Or if not, I just hope you found it interesting. So yeah, thanks for checking it out. And yeah, listen to the song. It's on Spotify, wherever you stream. And very shortly, I'm going to upload a live performance of the song. So thanks for checking it out. I'll see you on the next one.